Sometimes you have to have great restraint as a missionary. Let me tell you of an example of that for me was we were teaching a family in an apartment, and pretty soon a cockroach crawled up the wall. Well, being raised here in Utah, I was not used to cockroaches. I found since they're most places in the world, but I wasn't used to them. And here came this cockroach up, crawling behind their head, and started walking around behind them. Pretty soon another one came up. Pretty soon they started chasing each other and going all around. Well, I felt like now's the time, I better say. And I said, I'm sorry, but there's cockroaches having a baseball game behind your head. And they looked around. It was some teenage girls, and so their parents had left them. They were in the other room, and they just looked at them, and they just didn't do anything. They didn't say anything about it. And I said, well, aren't you going to do something about them? And they said, no, they're just cockroaches. So I started kind of making fun of it, and making jokes about that they're like our little brother, and oh, we wouldn't want to hurt the cockroaches, would we? And finally, one teenage girl yells in the other room, Mom, this Elder Christensen's making fun of our cockroaches, like I've made fun of their little brother. Anyway, in thinking about that after, I thought, they're a different sensibility. They come from they've grown up a different way. Things are different with them. And who am I to point that out? And, I'm over there making sure they know how dumb they are about leaving a cockroach there. You get off into other cultures and other people, and I think that's really a sensitive thing that you have to be good at, is not to do that kind of thing. One thing I've learned since, and I have traveled to most parts of the world, and I have learned that the quickest way you can alienate whoever you're talking to in another country is to disparage and put down in some way their country. Nobody wants to hear that. They take it personally. It's their country, it's whatever. And to be positive about it and look for the good in wherever you are and whatever country you're in, there's always something great about it. And especially as a missionary, that's what you want to talk about with people.